there's an extension. It's there until January 31st if they get an agreement in Parliament before they leave the EU before. But what happens on the UK side? So Boris Johnson now wants an election. There's a couple of ways in which he can get it.
That's right, and his first route today is to try to use something called the Fixed-Term Parliament Act, which actually is quite a difficult hurdle he's got to overcome. He needs 2/3 of all the MPs in the House of Commons to vote to hold an early election in order for that election to take place. And it doesn't look like he's going to get that today because the Labour Party, the opposition party, won't back it.
OK, but there are two other ways, right, that he could get it, and that would mean a possible general election on December 9th. If we get one, does the Conservative Party win?
Well, you're asking me to predict an extremely difficult political... Yeah, exactly. No, it's incredibly hard to predict elections. I think with no Brexit done yet, it's very difficult for Johnson. He will face a big challenge from the Brexit Party, which is campaigning for an even harder Brexit than he's after, and they could cost him votes. So I wouldn't necessarily think that Johnson will win big.
Tim, you are expert at this. Would you explain why politicians are avoiding the franchise of democracy? It is ludicrous to say we're battling about when there'll be an election. Why is this?
Well, the fact is, under the law as it exists at the moment, the election won't happen until 2022. Johnson is doing his best to try and bring that forward to December, but he needs support from MPs to go there as well. I guess when it comes down to it, people don't want to put themselves up for election if they don't think they're going to win. Johnson's ahead in the polls, Corbyn is behind, and Corbyn doesn't want that election right now.
What is the response of the public to this? Just over the weekend, just within the firmament of the United Kingdom, what's the response of the public to the fact Labour doesn't want to give them a vote?
Well, I think that that will play out in the course of the campaign as and when it comes. I do think we will have that election at some point over the next couple of months. And that, no doubt, will be one of Boris Johnson's attack lines. Look, here's the guy, he will say of Jeremy Corbyn, who didn't want you to get this vote, who didn't want the public to have a say and wanted to keep this off the table. But don't forget that in the UK, this will be our third election in 4 years, and people are kind of weary of voting. Yeah. I think that's something to factor in as well.
Tim, when you look at the possibility of a no-deal Brexit, right? So it's not going to happen in 2019, but could it happen in January 31st, 2020, or when we come down to negotiating our future relationship with the EU?
That is the question that Jeremy Corbyn has been trying to raise, and in a sense it is a clearly legitimate one, because this extension today from Brussels does delay a potential cliff edge to the end of January, but then what? That's still an open question. Would it be extended again if the deal doesn't get through? And then also there's a transition period, don't forget, which runs out at the end of December, so there's concern there could be another cliff edge for no deal at that point.